Touchdown Tampa Bay. You're listening to the PewterCast.
Welcome to the PewterCast Live. Talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pulling out, eking out, just barely winning over the New York Giants, which I think us, my good friend Rendak sitting right next to me, and the entire world thought this game was going to be a lot further apart than just simply 25-23, depending upon a missed 2-point conversion at the end of the game. Rendax, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. Survive in advance, baby. Survive in advance.
Listen, we say it, I don't want to say all the time. All the time would not be correct, but we do say it, so with somewhat frequency. I don't care if you win by 10 points, 20 points, or 1 point. A win is a win is a win. Did you say a half point?
I did. Sorry, I messed up your flow. Go ahead.
No, but look, a win is a win is a win. And the Buccaneers come out of there with just barely a win in what was a very, very shaky game, front to back. But Ren, talk to us. You were not alone this game. You were hanging out with a bunch of people over on the Collide app.
I was.
And we are here to hang out with a bunch of our friends,
Yes.
our fellow Bucs fans, and who knows, maybe even a couple New York Giants fans, maybe just some football fans out there in general. Hello to everybody who is joining us live at youtube.com, thepewtercast.live, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, or wherever you're happening to catch the show, or if you're listening to us later on the podcast feed, the many thousands of you that will do that there. Hello to all of you guys, and welcome to the show. Ren, talk to me about this game, my friend. This was something, not exactly the way you thought it was going to go.
No, and there's going to be a lot to complain about this game, even in a victory, but let's focus on the good stuff, okay? We won.
Coming from you?
We won, though. We won. We won.
Rendax focusing on the good stuff. Let's go, folks.
No, that's it. Like, we won. Everything else was terrible. No, I know we're going to get into it, but, I thought Todd Bowles playing off in the first half was so detrimental. Just letting the Giants, it reminded me a lot of the old Buccaneers defense, where the offense can't score any. No, I'm talking Super Bowl defense.
Oh, okay.
Where the offense can't score any points. Well, it's because you never give them the ball. It's like you let the team get 3-4 first downs and then you stop them. And now the offense has to go 80 yards, 92 yards to score. So that was really frustrating. The interior defensive line, every time the Giants ran the ball, they got 5 yards. That was so frustrating.
Right. On a team that is supposed to be, or not supposed to be, is the best run defense in the league.
Yeah. That's what made it so frustrating.
Didn't look like it tonight.
No, it's we're going to make Daniel Jones beat us, or at least sustain drives, but they didn't have to. That was kind of that's what's going to happen. They're on their third running back. I mean, this guy, this guy is not on anybody's fantasy team. So,
Brent, would you believe? I happen to be looking at it right now as it's sort of hot off the presses. For all of those runs that the New York Giants had against our team, they only got 101 rushing yards total combined, and their highest rusher was only at 44 yards.
Yeah, okay.
It didn't feel like that.
No, because they were 2nd and 5. They ran the ball on first down every time. And Buck fans go crazy when Byron Leftwich does that for the Buccaneers. And they were 2nd and 5. They were continually 2nd and 5. And then when they did get behind the sticks, the defense would do something stupid. That first 4th down conversion on that final drive, Winfield just let the guy catch the ball and then tackle him. But did he go for the pick? He's sliding out of the picture. And then, Devin White, who took the wrong angles a lot tonight.
Wait, I'm sorry. Devin White.
Oh, Devin Smith.
Devin Smith. Yeah, that's the guy.
He plays for the New England Patriots. Did you hear him call the Patriots more than once?
More than once.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then when they went on a 5-minute talk about Antonio Brown,
Oh,
they didn't talk about anything and that whole entire drive till like we crossed midfield.
right.
And then they just kept talking about the same things over and over. Well, it's
Right.
going to be how it was driving. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for them to quit talking about Antonio Brown because guess what?
He's not on the team yet.
And and what did you talk about pregame? Antonio Brown. I mean,
Right.
that was I wasn't happy with the ESPN crew, and especially because when the Bucs were, losing, or when they got up by a couple of points,
Mhm.
they were saying, well, the Giants got to score 28 because Tom, like they're just expecting us to. They weren't calling the game; they were calling the game that they thought they were going to watch.
Mhm. Right.
So it was just that was frustrating. I don't think any of the linebackers had a good game. Jamel Dean can never ever wear red sleeves, because when he does, he is terrible.
Right.
Like ever.
Right. Now,
ever.
but that being said, Jamel Dean was I don't know if the right word is tied, but he's right there at the top with Antoine Winfield Jr. as the guy with the most tackles.
It's because
on
they
the night.
threw at him the most and they caught the most balls.
It's fair.
You can't tackle a guy without the ball and make it legal. You can't get a tackle unless he has the ball.
Right.
And he can't have the ball unless he catches it.
Right. But you are right. This was by far in his what is it now? This is game 8, so 16, 24 games with the Buccaneers. This was by far his worst game I've seen.
Who?
Jamel Dean.
No.
You don't think so?
The Seattle game was by far. He got burnt for like 3 touchdowns in the Seattle game.
In Seattle. Oh, from
his first
year?
start. Remember, like Carlton Davis pulled a hammy, like, oh, Dean's starting out of nowhere, and we're wearing our white uniforms, and he's the only guy wearing a red undershirt.
No, I don't remember.
Really? Oh my God. Everyone talked about it. Like, that's the reason getting burnt, because he's the only guy, because you look up and it's all white everywhere except this one guy with these 2 parallel red marks. And Russell Wilson just goes, there's the guy. No one else was wearing red undershirt.
You're right.
But him. And this is the next first time I've seen it.
Fair enough. So Jamel Dean, time to burn the red undershirt.
Yes, Jamel Dean, time to burn the red undershirt. Sure. Yeah. And the offense wasn't much better. Like, I know Rojo fumbled the ball and you want to punish him, but when he came back in, he was doing fine. I don't like Leonard. Don't quit handing the ball to Leonard Fournette unless it's on 3rd down. Like, I don't know why he's in the game. He's not as good as runner as Rojo. He's just not, and they were talking about in the chat, and I'm sure it was talked about on Twitter because they talked a little bit about on the broadcast when Fournette got that 1st down.
Yeah.
And why didn't you challenge that? They marked him a yard short, and then it was 3rd and 1. We didn't make it. Or 4th and 1. No, 3rd and 1. We didn't make it. We kicked the field goal. I mean, there was not any stars. There was lots of disappointments. I could point to Will Golston, obviously suck up. None of the DBs, Winfield wasn't particularly splashing, he got lucky. And the Giants were so lucky. What was it, like 5 deep balls where like the DB never turned around, just hit him, and it just hit him in the arm.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, it was a very frustrating game to watch, but man, they put it together. And the final thing I'll say before I sort of close it off is the Bucs have a real hard time having a sense of urgency, getting some energy without fans in the stands. This is every game that they've played. They have to sort of step in it before they kind of pull their head out of their butt without fans in the stands. And, it was a completely uninspiring, zero urgency performance by that defense in the first half. Like, they weren't even congratulating each other. Like, Daniel Jones was going up and down the field, and Carlton Davis breaks up a pass, and no one even goes over to say good job. It was,
right.
You could tell they started in the second half a little more, but again, end of the day, no one's going to care by Wednesday. The
only thing people will remember is the fact that the Buccaneers won this game.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's been talking about the Saints game all week anyway.
Yeah.
even on like pregame shows, people are like,
Right.
"Oh, okay. After this game, what about the Saints game?" And it's like,
Yeah.
well, we got to play this game first.
Mhm.
And I'm not a big trap game type of person.
Mhm.
But it was just sort of, like I said, defensively, it was completely uninspiring. But we've seen it before where, without fans in the stands, this team just can't bring their own energy. I don't know if Tom Brady's too chill, and until
Uh-huh.
it kind of gets there, because he is so stone faced at the beginning of the game, and it's like, but it's cool when there's 55,000 opposing fans yelling and screaming at him, but when there's nobody there, it's just kind of like, I need some. Let's are you guys realize that they kicked off, right? Like,
Right.
this isn't practice. Like,
Right.
you're wearing
The
those
game has
fancy new,
actually started. It's happening right now.
you're
Yeah.
wearing those fancy new red uniforms you haven't worn in
Ever.
20 years.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, we win.
Yeah. I mean, look,
And why are you throwing the ball to Jalen Mickens 17 times? Like,
that's crazy.
he threw 18 passes.
Uh-huh.
And his first 17 were Jalen Mickens. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what?
It was a lot of Jaden Mickens tonight. I mean, I'm looking at it here, and it appears, yes, I'm absolutely right. Jaden Mickens had the most targets.
Yeah.
In tonight's game. The actual number is 8, not 17, but that is the most.
No, it was 17, not by my numbers. You must be on Buccaneers.com where they're trying to spin the narrative.
I see. This is Ren's Pro Football Stats over here. Dak Stats. That's what it is. It's Dak Stats.
The Dak Stats are back.
This is the thing, and I see people in the chat room right now. It's like, come on, guys, we're 6-2. We just won the game. Yeah. Look, here's the deal. As a fan, I'm sitting here going, we're supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won, but we almost lost. And that's the thing that's not okay. We almost lost against a 1-6 team.
Right.
And great, we can all come out of here and celebrate. But my question going into this, and maybe it's the fact that there's no fans in the stands, but what is it about these games where the Bucs are supposed to not just win, but blow out the other team? Remember the Chicago game?
Yeah.
I think the word you used, Ren, was bloodbath. Yeah. Right? You said this game, it's going to be shut down by the end of the first half.
Yep.
And like, what was even the Chargers game? Like, the Chargers game wasn't supposed to be nearly as close as it was. The Broncos game wasn't supposed to be. I don't know. Whatever.
The Broncos had a lot of injuries, but I was never sort of on the edge of my seat like I was for the Chargers game, obviously the Chicago game, and for this one where it's just like, man, just it's almost it wasn't that they weren't getting out of their own way, and I'll tell you what, I think this referee crew, like they didn't call penalties, and I think it hurt the Bucs, especially defensively, but it like. The defense wouldn't show up, and then when they finally either got a penalty or did make a play, the very next one would just be like, it's like what are you doing? It's like early in the game they kept getting pressure, and then when the back end started to hold up a little bit, and Daniel Jones had to pump and look and sort of like, take more time in the pocket, then the pressure wasn't there. It was so weird. It was just so weird. So, and I wasn't, again, the offensive game plan coming out, like, featuring Jaden Mickens was just like, I don't like, you can't double everybody. So if Mike's out there, Tyler Johnson's out there, Scotty Miller's out there, Gronk's out there, you can't tell me that you're going to Jaden Mickens. Yeah. Tyler Johnson got one target. It was a huge catch. Picked up a first down on like 1st and 20. But again, we win.
We won. Right. Won. I mean, that's the craziest thing. And we'll get in here. We'll open up these phone lines here in just a moment. But that's the craziest thing. Like, we won. That's great. This is what we're supposed to do. But what does it say about us, Ren, that we've reached that point where if we don't win big enough, we're pissed off?
I don't care about winning big enough. Like, I'm I find myself an intelligent enough fan to understand that. But it's the way the defense was playing. Like, I
Yeah.
really didn't have a problem the way the offense was playing. Honestly, I
Right.
didn't. I didn't understand going to Mickens early because obviously, Tom Brady hadn't had. You could tell the chemistry really wasn't there. Now, really huge catch on third down. When we went down, I think to take the lead, it was like 3rd and 5, and Brady squeezed it in there on really good coverage, and Mickens caught it nice, using his hands only, and then got out of bounds. Like that was a really good catch. But I don't understand like why you even target him. Like I don't get it. Like I just like, and so not understanding the offensive game plan and it not going well. And then with the luck of the Giants DBs, having balls bounce off their forearms 5 times in a row. Well, they never even looked. Never looked. They just put their arm out and it hit it. It was amazing that it was just so frustrating to see it happen. And then the defense not like playing completely uninspired.
Yeah.
Like, like it didn't even seem that they started talking to each other until like halfway through the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so that's why, I'm frustrated. It's not to the point where you win a game and we're like, oh, boo-hoo. It's like, and it's a week-to-week league. So I'm not going to sit here and go, well, if we do like that, the Saints are going to beat us because, like the past 2 weeks, we've played fantastic.
Right.
It's a week-to-week league. And if you've watched the Bucs or NFL or, long enough, you understand that. Like the team that shows up tonight, it's a 50-50 chance the same team shows up, Sunday night against the Saints.
Right.
It's probably a little better that the better team shows up because as you go through the season, there's more, you have a bigger sample size of, okay, we've played 8 games. Well, the offense have shown up for 6 of them.
Yeah.
The 2 they didn't was Chicago and this one,
Right.
So you can feel better about that. But, I'm not going to sit here and say that this team, we have to get all this stuff cleaned up or the Saints are going to clean our clock because I just don't think that's true because it's a week-to-week league.
Right. Red, let me ask you this before we open up phone lines. Last question, and I'm going to open everything up.
Sure.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
How much of a difference does he really make on this offense, given the fact he wasn't there and we saw this offense play like they did tonight?
Well, the offense didn't play that terrible. I mean, they scored 25 points. I know, but still, they scored 25 points. What?
Scored 25 points.
Hey, the Giants have the best defense.
Nine of them were off the kicker, though. 9 of them were field goals.
Yeah, the offense still scored the points. Like we're not getting
I
into.
I know it still
point,
counts. I know it still counts, but we're not talking.
It's 25 points.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's it's hard to sort of jump on and it's hard to jump on the defense because that late touchdown was really frustrating. But one of the touchdowns, would they start like at the 10?
Right.
Interception,
right?
Yeah. So before that touchdown, they'd given up like 14 points. And if you've only give up 14 points, then what are you complaining about? So
exactly.
So
and we win. Why are we complaining, Ren? Why are we complaining? Because we win.
I guess because we didn't score the points the right way.
That's too
many from the kicker, Brent.
You know what? And that's what we say all the time. It's not how they lose or it's not that they lose. It's how they lose. When you go into certain games, we've said that before in previous years.
Oh yeah.
Sure. It's not necessarily that they win. It's how they win.
Yeah.
And we expect it to be different. And we expect it to be better.
Yeah.
Hey, for all those, I'm going to make this real quick and dirty. I'm not going to go into this very long. MyBookie.ag. Use promo code overtime, double that first deposit. And take care of that. And if you bet money, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw this out there. If you went to MyBookie, you made a bet, email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Let us know if you won or not. And I'll pick somebody from out of that. And I'm going to send you a cool PewterCast patch. We got patches now, Ren.
Or $100.
Do what?
Or $100. Emailer's choice.
No. No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
A patch. You will get
just $100. Oh, you get the patch.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying no to the patch.
No, I'm saying yes to the patch. You guys can do that. I'm saying no to the $100 or the emailer's choice. If you guys won or didn't, email me. Let me know, mybookie.ag. Let me know how much you put on, what your bet was, and I'll pick from that pool of people there. So mybookie.ag,
What's our
overtime
code?
is the promo code.
There it is.
Right there. So you guys do that. All right, that out of the way, guys. Phone line is open. You guys want to call in? Let's talk about this game. 864-729-BUCKS. That's 864-729-2827. And we'll take those in. I always remind everybody that we only have one phone line. So please, if the phone line is busy, just wait for the call to clear and we'll get you guys in. Also, alternatively, if you would like to join us here in the chat, you can do that by clicking the link that we have just dropped down in the chat room. So you guys will be able to see that as well. And we'll wait for you guys to call in. This is our post game, the original Tampa Bay Buccaneers post game call in show.
I love how you added the original. It's so great. The original,
because we are the original.
We are the original.
Been
doing it years before radio. We've been doing this before radio existed, by the way.
No. Well, we're the original Bucs post call-in game show for fans by the fans. Ren, we got somebody lining up here in the chat room. Let's bring them in. Mia.
Hi.
What's up, guys?
I got that right? Mia, right?
Maya.
Welcome
I knew it was Maya.
I just wanted to make sure I was saying it right. So
Maya,
talk to us.
You should give her a patch.
One of my favorite callers from last week. Talk to us, Maya.
Hey guys, so I'm happy we got the win. Obviously it wasn't the win that I was hoping we would get.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, we're 6-2. We're number 1 and next game.
Snap and clear.
Yeah, snap and clear. To get into it though, I wasn't really I'm not really feeling Byron Leftwich's play calling, because it's just like every first down, it's like run up the middle, run up the middle, run up the middle. Then you took Rojo out, and then it's like you're trying to create side to side with Fournette, and he tries to stutter step.
He looks slow. He looks slow tonight.
And it's like, I didn't understand why they didn't try to put like Vaughn in there to maybe like mix it up a little bit. That was one area. And then defense, it's like it was like kind of like a drop off from like when you've seen this defense from the Packers, and then you've seen it in the Raiders, and then tonight it was just like average. It's not like you saw the linebackers shooting like we normally see them going as fast. I mean, they kind of had a good game, but that's not really the game that we usually see from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like Sean, like I really think that the game is kind of getting to his head a little bit. He's not really relying on what he's used to as far as last season, because that last touchdown, even though it was, it was just like he let up. And
right.
He's too deep. He can't throw that far.
Right.
And that's something that's sort of a theme we've seen a few of the Buccaneers defensive backs have sort of that reared its ugly head throughout games, where they just kind of quit running. Like the first touchdown in the Chargers game, Whitehead just let the guy go by him, never looked at him, like just kind of watched the ball sail. And he was watching it like it was a foul ball going into the stands. Like he didn't even make a move on the ball.
No, he didn't. And
it's just, those things are really frustrating. It was also frustrating about the defensive line, because the Giants are missing their best offensive lineman. Their rookie tackle have had a terrible season, and they had 2 rookies starting on the left-hand side, and it's the most the Buccaneers been pushed around all year long.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people comment and saying that we played to the level of our competition. This team is 1-6. They're 31st in the league. And it's like when we play primetime games, for some reason, it's like we just look average. And then Jamel Dean's very, very, very lucky that Daniel Jones could not hit tonight.
Yeah.
He's very lucky, because I'll tell you right now, when we play Sunday night, Drew Brees is going to take that 50-50. He's going to take that the entire time.
Yeah, but he can't throw it. But he can't throw it that far.
I mean, that's what.
Yeah, but he's going to put it on the right.
This
shoulder,
is the Bucs. This is the Bucs you're talking about.
Yeah.
They always say, "Oh no, whatever." But overall, I was very a little bit skeptical about the 4th and 1 when Brady
Mhm.
wanted to go for it, and
Yeah,
then
let me.
that
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys about that. What'd you guys think that the call to kick it versus going for it there at the very end?
I would have went for it, to be honest with you.
I'll always go for it.
I would have
I would have
kicked
went
it.
for it.
I would have kicked it
Yeah.
because it wasn't enough time.
Mhm.
Like, if you're going to give me 1 yard to win the game, and because you can run out the clock, it didn't necessarily mean because there was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Right.
Mhm.
You take the kick, you go up by 8. They don't have any timeouts. That's the smart play. If you don't make it, the touchdown, you lose.
Mhm.
But if there was like 50 seconds or a minute 12 with no timeouts,
Mhm.
where you can guarantee that if you make it, game's over. If you made it there, maybe game's over. Probably game's over.
Mhm.
But you'd have to get another first down. So, that's where I kind of was like, you take the smart play and you kick it. The problem was, which I'm sure everyone talked about, I didn't really see it on social media, but I heard them say, it's like, I cannot understand why they didn't challenge the 3rd down mark. Like,
Me neither. I didn't.
Mhm.
he clearly made it. He was still in the
made it.
air. He was across the yellow line, still in the air. And you weren't going to use your timeouts anyway.
No.
Right.
For some reason, officiating for our past couple games haven't really been that great.
Past couple of games.
Yeah, the past couple of games.
It's hard because I mean you could say that about officiating on just about every game.
And I
like,
will.
That's the default, right? Like if you get a well officiated game, that's the surprise, But this one, they didn't throw the flag for too many phantom penalties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would rather have what we had tonight where they just swallow the whistle and let things play out than guys that are blowing those and throwing flags for things that aren't really even penalties. Like if I had to pick between the two, but yeah, there was some definite ball play. I think ball placement was the thing I noticed the most. I was like, I don't know about that. Like there's a few times,
like the Tyler Johnson, they marked him like a yard short.
Yeah.
Then they're like, there's no penalty, but we're going to give you the first down. Like, what? Oh, I mean,
I saw that. Yeah.
I think the officiating really helped the Bucs. The Cameron Brate penalty,
Yeah.
Blow to the head, garbage, complete freaking garbage.
Yeah.
They don't want to mess up their jobs.
But that's like, you don't even call that. That's like, that's never called. The Winfield, they got it right, but that penalty never should have came out. Like that flag never should have came out. It was so bang bang. So
the guy who threw it was the guy who was like watching from behind his back.
Like
he was the guy in the back of the end zone, and the play with the arm and everything was on the front side of the end zone. Like, what's he doing throwing the flag in the first place anyway?
Yeah, the guy who's watching it didn't throw a flag.
Right.
Like, what are you covering for him? Like, but they got it right. So
in the circle. I was like, oh my god. But another thing, I totally agree with you guys on the Jaden Mickens thing. I do think that Tyler Johnson's way better than him.
I'm way better than Jalen Mickens. I'm just not as fast. I'm definitely taller. Probably better looking.
And it was like, I don't know if it was like the wind or something, but sometimes what kind of frustrated me about Brady this game is that he was standing in the pocket and he was just overthrowing people. And I was just like,
he wasn't sharp early.
I was like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. He wasn't sharp early. And what made it more frustrating was that he was targeting Mickens a lot, and you could sort of account it to, well, the reason he's not sharp is because he's throwing to a guy he never throws to. Like, how many balls do you think Tom Brady and Jalen Mickens in practice total?
3.
Like, it's probably closer to 15, but that includes training camp. I mean, like, it's so. I didn't get it, but again, like you were saying, it's a win. A win's a win. No one cares. Saints suck.
There you go. You got anything else for us? I got a couple of people lining up here that I want to make sure I get to as well. You got anything else for us for tonight?
I know that'd be all, but thank you guys for having me on as your first guest. I really appreciate it.
Mia, you're awesome. Hope to hear back from you next week. All right.
Yeah, man.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye now. All right, Ren. Hey, we got a phone caller who's been waiting on the line. You are on the line with Brent and Ren for the PewterCast Live. Who do we got here tonight?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Me, Keon.
Keon, what's going on, Keon?
Hey, Keon.
Oh man, that game was very stressful and frustrating to watch
Oh my God,
on
it was
both
so
sides of the
stressful.
ball. For me, I really think that we're missing a very special player in Tavita Tuliakiono Tuipulotu Mofese Vahai Fahoko Falatau number 50. They were able to run it up the gut when they needed it.
Keon, I got to stop you.
I think he meant to say Tuakwa. Oh man, I messed it up.
Keon, say it again. I just want to see if you can do it twice.
Yes.
Say it again.
Yes, his name is Tavita Tuliakiono Tuipulotu Mofese Vahai Fahoko Falatau there.
That is crazy that you know that.
I don't even know if that's right. He could say anything. He'd be like,
he really could.
Briannica,
there's no
water,
way I'm checking that.
sailfish, car, steering wheel. Yep, that's it.
But yeah, that's him. And look, it's not like Nunez, Rosas, or McClendon are not good in the middle of our defense. It's just that he's special. And we don't have him. And that's what they want to pound it up the middle. And we have, not there. So
look, here's the difference. Here's the difference. Vita is a guy who gets his picture up on a banner around the stadium. He's a guy who gets his picture on those souvenir cups they give out for each one of the games. Neither Nacho nor McClendon are that guy. They're just not. And that's the difference.
Fine.
Vita is one of our stars. Those other guys are depth players. And I'm glad to have them in the event of an injury, but you're absolutely right. I mean, they're missing Vita. Although I really have to say, for as much as it felt like they really ran on us tonight, when I looked down at the number and I looked down at the sheet, I mean, nobody got more than 45 yards. 44 yards was their biggest rusher, and they only got 100 yards total. Now that seems like a lot because we're not even used to them getting 100 yards as a team.
Right.
But they got 101 yards total tonight. Like that's it. That's all they got.
What did Daniel Jones get? Like how much of that was him?
20 yards on 3 carries.
Okay.
Right.
So take that away, and that's 80 yards. That's 81 yards. Take that away. So.
Right, exactly. But then you look at the opposite side of the ball. I really do think we miss Godwin because he's a matchup problem in that you have to think about him and Mike Evans. And I think, I've watched in this game. This is a man-up game. They play man a lot, especially over the top. And when it's underneath, they do switch between zones and whatnot. And the thing is with zone, if you're sitting in your zone and you're trying to deal with Mike Evans, he's not somebody who's going to be breaking off the crispy routes. He's not a double move, high agility guy. He's there to be big and beat you up and get the ball. The thing is with that is that if you still double him, as they were, then you have who else? You do have Gronk, which we were able to get to the ball. They did go to Mickens way too much.
Yeah.
But you don't have the crispy right guy in Chris Godwin, which I think we missed. And I think we could have done a lot more work if they had to contend with Godwin and Mike Evans. But again, a win is a win is a win. Frustrating, though.
There you go. And I'll tell you this about Mike Evans. Again, I'm just looking at the paper here in front of me. Surprisingly, Mike Evans had the best night receiving at 55 yards on 5 receptions. Right. By the way, Jaden Minkins also had 5 receptions. So it Yeah. It's I think your point, Keon, and I don't think anybody would deny, is we missed a couple of key players around the team that really make this offense and the defense really hum. Tonight they didn't hum; they just sort of fluttered. They made it through.
Right.
They made it through. They did what they needed to do, and like we said, at the end of the day, we're all gonna, what we're gonna remember is the fact they got the W. That's the only thing that we're gonna remember out of this game. But for right now, fresh off the game, hearing this raw emotions, instant reaction, it's kind of like, yeah, that was a win, but yeah, didn't. Yeah, like it shouldn't have been like that against this team. So, Keon, you got anything else for us before I let you go, pal?
We got to figure out something about athletic tight ends, but that's not it.
Okay. Yeah.
You guys have a good night and go Bucs.
Go Bucs, Keon. Thanks so much,
Bucs.
buddy.
Yeah, they got to figure out about teams getting their athletes out in the flat is what it is. And they better figure out quick, because guess who's coming to town? And who do they throw to the flat to all the goddamn time? Who makes like 3 people miss and go for 40 yards?
Michael Thomas.
No. Kamara.
Oh, that guy. I've heard of him. I heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I heard he's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Ren, we got somebody else who's lining up here. They want to join us in the chat. It's a good friend of ours, actually.
Is it?
Corey.
Oh,
formerly of the Play Reaction, says he's retired now. Corey,
hi guys,
staying up late at night with a little baby. I'm sure he's just up for a midnight feeding is all he's doing. What's going on, Corey?
I have to, because after that game, like, I'm not going to sleep.
Yeah,
right.
My heart was pounding. I actually switched it because I'm watching online, and I know I'm behind. It was so nerve-wracking. I just switched on Twitter and followed Greg Allman because I knew he would get it in first.
Right.
Like what happened. And I was like, worst case scenario, he's going to tell me that we gave up and we blew it, and I don't want to watch that. So I just depended on that. And then so I saw that they picked up the flag, and then I was like, well, that's just that. It was as if I was watching the game. So either way, so I'm hanging out with you guys because I got nothing better to do. I'm not.
There you go. Well, you're welcome. I mean, let's. I want to dive back into that flag and particularly
it's quite a compliment. That's quite a compliment.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with you guys. I have nothing better to do whatsoever.
I've got a wife and baby and dog all asleep, so I'm going to try to keep it down. But
I can hear you sort of trying to whisper it a little bit. So if we go back, we talked about that 4th and 1 call where BA finally decides to kick it as opposed to go for it. It wasn't even like 4th and 1; it's like 4th and a half. Is I think about what it really was, and they decided to go for it. And Ren's absolutely right. I think the right call was to kick it because you put it at an 8-point game at that point where you force them to have to go for a 2-point conversion. And worst case scenario, if they get it, they tie up the game and then you go to overtime and you got to figure it out from there. Right. Yep. Like that's the worst case scenario versus if you go for it and then you don't make it and then they go score, all they have to score is a touchdown. Then you have to get the extra point and then they win. So I think going for it was right. But they left, what was it, 3 minutes on the clock or something like that? Maybe a minute and a half.
3:30.
Yeah.
3:30 on the clock. So plenty of time for them to do something. But you're like, okay, this is a very struggling New York Giants offense. And like the worst nightmare situation unfolds that's going to send us to overtime, because that's the worst thing that could happen, is they march down the field, they get the touchdown, and a hair's breadth, they almost get that 2-point conversion. Talk to us about that, Corey. Tell me about that thing when you see the flag and then they pick it back up. Talk me through that with your perspective.
I'm trying to figure out how a hair breathes. So you're kind of throwing me off.
Hair's breadth.
Oh, breadth. Gotcha.
Breadth. Yeah.
Yeah, missed the D.
I think it's in flower arrangements, isn't it?
It's over in the / area.
Yeah. So I definitely looked back up at the online feed to see the play out once I saw that everything was okay. And in fast motion or normal speed, it definitely looked like pass interference. So
what?
In normal speed, like first glance.
Are you a Bucs fan or what? Like, what's going on here?
But then, of course, when they showed the replays, it was like, oh no, he hit the ball. So I mean, that was just one of those things. I was I was happy it was Winfield, honestly. I think him making that kind of play on a big stage, national stage, I think he's definitely making a case for defensive rookie of the year, as long as he keeps doing that kind of stuff. Obviously, stats usually dictate that, so he's got to keep doing. He's got to make the picks, and he's got to show up on the stat sheet. But it shouldn't have gotten to that point. I mean, you mentioned kicking the field goal, whether or not to kick the field goal. I was actually second guessing why didn't we go for 2 on the previous touchdown. Somebody commented to me that it was possibly because if the Giants then score a touchdown, we would be up by 7 at that point by just kicking the field goal or kicking the extra point. But then here we were, and I was like, man, those 2 points really are making a difference right now. We would be up by 2 scores had we gone for 2 and made it on that last touchdown.
Yeah, but if you didn't make it,
exactly,
it was me. See, what the point is when you didn't go for 2 and kick the 1, if the Giants went down and scored, a field goal would win it for you.
Right.
Okay, so you'd win by 1.
Yeah.
So now we went to the extra point, and then we got the field goal before they got their touchdown.
Yeah.
So that forced them to go for 2, which was the winning difference.
And that's the thing. Is like you just.
And if you miss it, then the touchdown, kick the extra point, and you lose.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know what's going to play out. You have to get a feel for the game. And this is actually, I might go on a little bit of a rant here. This is kind of something that that's been bothering me, is that people are just pulling their hair out whenever we kick a field goal instead of going for it on 4th and short.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you may be right if you're frustrated and saying, hey, we should go for it. I mean, there are definitely times when it's like, hey, you're right, we should go for it there. And we decided to kick a field goal and I'm pissed off. But then I feel like there's a contingent of people that are just like, always go for it on 4th and short, always go for it, no matter what, because the stats say. Well, we saw what happens when you go by just the stats in the World Series. Sorry to trigger people. You've got to get a feel for the game and what's actually happening around you. And I go back to a couple games ago when we decided to kick a field goal and ended up losing the game. What game was that? Rand, can you remind me, because you have the memory?
Okay, what's the situation? I'm sorry.
We kicked the field goal, and
is it this year?
I don't know if we ended up losing the game. I don't know. It was a couple of games ago. Sorry, it's too late. But regardless, people were.
Was it the Bears game?
It might have been. People were killing Bruce Arians for going.
Yeah.
It
was either the Saints
that
or
was the Bears game. Yeah, because it was 4th and short, and we kicked the field goal to take the lead.
So.
Yeah, and it's and they went for it on 4th down earlier in the drive and made it.
Right.
And it's like, if you're gonna go for it at the 35, why not go for it at the 12?
So the thing there is that in hindsight, yes, we should have probably gone for it. But in the moment, I remember thinking, yeah, I'd probably kick the field goal too, because at that time, the Bears had been constantly driving on this defense, and there was just no promise that we were going to stop them. So taking the points there at the time made sense to me. And for me,
especially since we were losing and the field goal gave you the lead.
Right.
It was 5 minutes left. You take the lead.
Yeah.
You should, if you wanted to score a touchdown, you just had 3 downs to try.
Yeah. So again, in hindsight, we probably should have gone for it. My overall point is that it's obviously you lean on the stat sheet. We should definitely go for it on 4th and short a whole lot more than we're doing, but don't always just lean on, hey, highest percentage chance in general in the NFL. If you go for it on 4th and short, you're going to get it. It's more than that. You have to take in the stats, but you also have to take in the situation, how your players are playing, position matchups, and all that stuff. You have to take it all into account and maybe weigh the stats higher. But anyway, that's something that's
and I'm with you. No, I'm with you, because if you go for it on 4th down, like, that percentage is going to change.
Yeah.
If you go, if everyone goes for it on 4th down because the stats say you do, eventually that's going to change. And you know what? It might change to the negative side. Then everyone will quit doing it. And that's kind of like the thing. I have a problem with that sort of feeling. It's about who you're playing. It's about who you got. It's about is it 6 inches? Is it a half yard? Is it a yard and a half? Is it 4th and 2? Is it 4th and 2.5? Because here's the thing. This is what I always point out to people when they try to throw analytics in my face, which I I like analytics. Okay. But I got Brent and I got Corey here, and I want one of you guys to always take my free throws in the basketball game. Okay. I give Brent the first one, he misses. Later on in the game, or maybe the next game, we get another free shot. I give it to Corey, he makes it. Okay. Corey can miss the next. He can never make another basket the rest of his life. But the stats will tell me that he should take it because Brent's percentage is 0. And since you made the first one, you'll always be better. You could go 0 for 105 or 1 for 105, but the stats tell you that you're the better shooter. Right. And it's just not true, obviously.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Because Brent can ball.
Here at midnight. Hope everybody is enjoying this lesson. To bring it back to this game, I agree with Ren that the offense, I'm not worried about the offense. It did look fine. Obviously, I did get frustrated with vanilla play calling, runs up the middle and stuff, but this team has shown that they can win in spite of it. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, if we don't have Tom Brady, maybe it's more of an impact, but he has come through a whole bunch, so
he has.
It doesn't bother me as long as we're winning.
Look, here's the thing. This was the first time in a long time that I haven't been confident that the defense was going to hold the opposing offense, nor was I overly confident that the offense was going to be able to go down the field and get points back when they needed to. This is the first game I haven't felt like that in a long time. And that's mostly because, and I'm not going to put that on Tom Brady. I'm really not. I'm going to put that on everybody else around him. I can't even say everybody because that's not
It was
true.
a game plan. It was the early game plan.
Yeah.
It was obvious that it wasn't working. And
Right.
they stuck with it for the entire first half.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
and then they lead, and then they went back to it, except it was with Leonard Fournette instead of Rojo.
Mm-hmm.
But, on the flip side, it's, we still scored 25 points, which should be enough to win the game with this defense that we have.
Yeah. And it was.
And it was.
And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
And it was.
Corey, don't forget, buddy. We still won.
We did still win.
For all of this, we still won, but it's
I wanna real quick, I know you guys got other callers and stuff, but just real quick, want to make the point that really Jason Garrett deserves a lot of credit for this game. I think he very creatively schemed against this defense and exposed a lot of things about it. I think that's really, when you have a quarterback back like Daniel Jones, that wasn't Daniel Jones ripping us apart. I mean, it was, but it was his receivers were getting open. They were throwing in spots that obviously they had to make some plays, but it seemed like Jason Garrett was scheming against this defense, getting passes out quickly, and really trying to neutralize the heavy blitzing that he knew was coming, and it worked. So
it did. It was kind of a blueprint of the Chargers game.
Yeah.
They got the ball to the flat to their athletes very quickly, or quick slants, and then they took shots over the top. Problem is, Daniel Jones missed all his. He hit one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever pimple face kid, what's his name? Herbert. He didn't miss.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that we haven't seen. I think it's the biggest complaint about Byron is that we haven't seen him be a creative play caller at all.
Yeah.
Doing something like the Giants did, saying, hey, we don't have the best quarterback, or we don't have the best this or that, and we're just going to play right into whatever the defense gives us. And instead it's a bunch of running. But again, we won. It's fine.
That's the thing.
Is it fine, Corey? Because it doesn't sound like it's fine. You don't sound
well.
fine.
It makes me worried about the next game because that's huge, right? It's a national
week to week,
and it's
week
right.
to week,
but Corey, don't forget the last 2 games though.
Yeah.
Right. And as Rin said, I think that's fair for everybody.
All of the Saints game.
Yeah.
But looking ahead to the Saints game, it's like it's a quick passing team. And that's how they beat us the first time. It might be how they beat us this time. And they're fast and they get it out quick. I like that we had this game right before that game, because I think it's showing us what we need to work on. And it's showing us that we are not big and bad. We are 6-2 and leading the NFC South, but it's a little bit more of a humbling game, and I'm sick of those. But
is it BA who said it? Somebody said it might have been like a movie coach or something. But like as a coach, like I've heard this phrase. Like some people say, like, oh, you learn more from winning from losing than you do from winning. And the coach is like, no, you learn more from almost losing. I would rather almost lose because you can learn a lot. And tonight, the Buccaneers almost, and you're right, Corey. I think they have to learn from their mistakes tonight instead of celebrating the win, but learn from what they have tonight and go into the Saints like really amped up, ready to go and come out quick.
Plus, we don't have to worry about it. We got AB.
Yeah, that's true. And here comes
solve it. And maybe Chris Godwin's back, which is going to make everything go. So
that means Jaden Mickens is going to see 10 targets.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Yes.
Hush. Don't you put that evil on us, Corey Draper. Corey, man, I'm going to say goodbye to you for
straight
tonight.
Jet sweeps with Mickens. Start the game.
Corey, thanks for chiming in, man. You're always welcome. Hopefully we'll see you on another week. All right, buddy?
Yep. In the end, I'm going to be posting another Victory Mug Day photo tomorrow, so that's all I'm going to take away.
One of the highlights of our Victory Mug Day, Tuesday, whatever it is. Good job, Corey. We'll talk to you later. All right, buddy?
See you guys.
All right. Corey Draper, the player reaction. You guys want to go out there and find out his work. He had a really cool YouTube channel. It was different from our other friend, Mr. Jams Manahel with Mr. Bucks Nation. It was good stuff. Just I understand Corey everything. It's just a lot
his
of work
production value was out of this world.
It was amazing.
It just took too long. If you go and look for the play reaction on YouTube and just look at one of his videos, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's top notch, YouTube work. Like, like and that's the kind of work you see for people that does it for a living.
Yeah, and he has another job and family.
Yeah, and a family.
Like there you go. Ren, we got a caller on the line with us who's been waiting very, very patiently. Who do we got here? You're on the line with PewterCast Live with Brent and Ren.
Hey, Brent. Hey, Ren. What's up? It's Trent, first-time caller. Been a big fan of you guys the last couple of weeks, so just wanted to say thanks for that.
Thanks, Trent.
Just kind of been listening to everything that you guys have been saying. Kind of covered everything that I had to say, being this late in the episode. But just wanted to say that we won, and I think that's at the end of the day the important thing. Take a deep breath, and I kind of wanted to touch on something we were talking that Ren mentioned earlier. The Bears game, we were expected to go in and win confidently. The Chargers game, we were supposed to win confidently. And then, the Packers and the Raiders, it was one of those games where we thought we were going to lose or had a chance to lose, and we won confidently. So I don't like the fact that this Buccaneers team is still kind of rising to the occasion and then playing down to the level of the opponent. Obviously, the injuries on offense held us back, but really what upset me was I think Bruce Arians is just destroying Ronald Jones' confidence. I mean, we've talked about how young this guy is.
How so?
And
How so?
Well, he started the game. He started the game off. I believe it was 4 carries for 20 yards or 4 carries for. He was averaging 3 to 4 yards a carry in his first 4 carries. And then you just have that really, anomaly of a play where the ball was tipped. He catches it. He tries to make, something out of nothing. And after that, he finishes the game with 7 carries for 23 yards. And Fournette didn't look great.
He didn't look good.
15 carries for 50 yards. Well, behind the O-line, I felt that, Ronald could have came in there and kind of, no one had a big run. And Ronald kind of, in the last couple of weeks, has kind of provided that burst on offense where he, busts one for 15 to 20 yards or more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Ronald Jones is hands down the better running back. I was saying that Leonard Fournette didn't look good at all. And how I said that I was upset that they benched Ronald Jones. No, I'm with you, man. Like Ronald Jones is getting what's there and extra, and Fournette tonight at least was not getting what's there, and he wasn't even. There was a couple, not even a handful, 2 or 3. Where he put his head down and got what was there. Most of the time he fell backwards. And he must have got tackled by guys laying on the ground like 3 different times.
Yeah. How do you guys, I mean, This comes a point because this is now the second week in a row where Ronald Jones has had a bad play, and basically they sit him for the rest of the half and then bring him out in the second half and whatever. And I mean, you remember the Green Bay game, and there was another game. He gets like 20 touches and magic happens on the offense. Today, he got 11 total touches.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody earlier today saying, stop throwing to Ronald Jones. Well, you know what? Ronald Jones got 4 targets and he caught the ball 4 times for 23 yards. That's almost 6 yards a catch. Now, for a guy who's a running back catching out of the backfield, that's not horrible. You know? And he was on punishment, it seemed like, for most of the game.
was dropping swing passes the whole game.
I don't remember Fournette dropping a pass, but
he dropped 3. I mean, he had 6 targets and only caught 3 of them. So,
yeah, Fournette just couldn't catch the ball. And I mean, some of them were high throws on Brady's part, but you know, as an athletic running back and a guy who's going to be out there as a receiving back, you need to bring some of those in and make something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know
like
one
Brady
was high.
On that check down.
One was high, and then one was Brady threw it low, and I thought the guy went over his back, but it was a pretty good defensive play. I think that was like on 3rd and 5 or something. And I don't remember the other one, but yeah, I'm with you and Brent. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the only other 2 things that I wanted to allude to were the fact that, you know, I don't think in recent years we would have never thought the Buccaneers would have won a football game with a field goal kicker going 4 for 4.
Right. Jesus.
And Donovan Smith not having a holding penalty.
No, he did let 1 sack go all the way through. But outside of that, Donovan had a decent game. I mean, I didn't notice him too much outside of one spot. Did he? No. Did you notice him more? I didn't know. There was one play where I noticed him. It's because he let the guy through. Outside of that, I didn't notice him the whole game.
You know, something that I've always liked about Donovan Smith was you couldn't bull rush him. And this year, people are just knocking him off his they're just knocking him off his blocks. Not even putting him on skates, but just like they're hitting him and moving him out of the way. Like he can't even stay squared on it. Which he only gave up 1 sack, and I think Brady only got sacked twice, which was a good job by the offensive line. But if I was going to say who had the worst game along the offensive line, it'd be Donovan Smith.
Yeah. Sure.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, it's fair. Because, the other 4 guys, I mean, they brought in, if you want to count Hogue or Hag, they had the holding call when they brought him in as an extra blocker. But he's not an every down guy. And, I mean, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about was, you know, that last drive by the Giants obviously was ugly, but we also dropped, I believe, 2 interceptions on that drive. Levante dropped 1.
Yeah.
Right. What was the other one?
And I believe Jamil had opportunity to jump in front of one.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Didn't necessarily hit him in the hands, but I mean, at some point, you know, this is a defense that's been reliant on turnovers, and Carlton had one, but that was just Daniel Jones not making his progression and completely missing. I believe it was Slayton down the left side of the field.
Yeah, the Bucs are extremely lucky that Daniel Jones was quarterback of this team tonight, or it would have been a way different game. Now, the Bucs would have had to open up the offense if those deep balls were hit or even seen, let alone, you know, completed when he did throw them. The Bucs would have had to open up their offense, and they still might have won. But yeah, you know, I was watching that. It's funny because I was watching that last drive where they needed, you know, the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. It's kind of funny to say this because he converted 2 4th downs and made probably his best throw of the night for a touchdown to get within 2 points. I'm just watching. I'm going, this guy ain't clutch. Like, he doesn't have it. You know, I thought that you know, I thought he folded under the pressure a little bit. He was so lucky they picked up that first fourth down. I mean, that was just, you know, that was like almost a comedy of errors by the Bucs defense there. And then the second one, I blame the pass rush. Like when those 4 guys need to crank it up the most, they got no pressure on, if it was a 10-play drive, like 8 of the 10 plays where he had all the time to sit back there. And, if you're going to play zone, you can't have all that time. You're trying to keep it in front of you, but you got to get home with 4. And I don't think the defensive line really showed up. And it's also funny to say that because I got a sack on the drive. But so, yeah, if it wasn't for Daniel Jones, this would have been a lot different game.
Yeah.
All right, Trent, you got anything else for us, bud?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, I know you guys got callers coming in, but I just think, you have to give credit to Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. They did a really good job avoiding Devin White and Levante David.
Yeah.
Dean Winfield and Pierre Paul led the team in tackles, and Devin White was up there too, but he actually missed a pretty big tackle on that 4th and 5.
Yeah, he
did. Took a weird angle, or 4th and 6. Took a weird angle. And if teams kind of, that's been the Achilles heel of Bulls defense, is kind of swinging it out to the right and swinging it out to the left. So just going to be interesting to see how teams are avoiding Devin White and Levante David, because they're the clear playmakers on the defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like when we were talking to Corey, like that game plan was the exact same game plan the Chargers came in, except that, like I said, the deep shots over the top didn't connect, but getting, their guys, their playmakers, their athletes in space, and making the defensive ends, the edges, and then, making David and White, take those angles. Because there was a few times, again, another bad angle by Levante David, I think on the first touchdown by the Giants, or Ingram at least got it down to the 1, I believe it was. And Devin White, if you look at a stack sheet, and yeah, he was close to the top in tackles, but I don't think he didn't have any really splash plays. He had that sack, and I just didn't think he had his best game. But you're right. I think it's because of the way that the Chargers and the Giants scheme this up, where they're like, we're gonna make the outside guys, we're gonna make the defensive line and the cornerbacks and the safeties beat us, and not necessarily taking deep shots. Is like, we're gonna make them tackle, we're gonna make them run, we're gonna get them out in space, and make them earn their paycheck. And you look at the final score, and you're like, well, the defense held up pretty well, and they did, but it's the long drives, it's the 10, 12 play drives that eat up the clock, because now if the offense just stumbles a little bit, and that team, you'll say the Giants or the Chargers, they get 10 points out of their 4 drives, well, our team's not doing much better. Now it's halftime. We both only had the ball 4 times. And if you do 2 3 and outs, well, now you're really in trouble. You've barely run you've run like 13, 14 plays in the total first half, and it's 10-7 or it's 13-10. Like we've seen it. Saw it in the Chicago game, and saw it in this game, and saw it in the it started out that way in the Packers game. I remember how upset people were about the offense in the Packers game after the first quarter. They'd run like 7 plays. So.
All right, Trent, you got anything else for us?
That's all I have, guys.
All right.
No, that's all I have, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Cool, Trent. Hey, man, hopefully we hear back from you next week. Don't be a stranger, okay?
Will do.
All right, talk to you later. Bucs. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Yeah, thanks for calling. Thanks for finding us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for listening in. I like always hearing about new listeners calling into the show, Ren.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more for you. This is not a new listener. This is not even a new video chatter. This is one of our regulars, John Relios. What's going on, John?
Hey, guys. All right. First of all, offense. Cut Jaden Mickens. Cut him. I don't want to see him.
Why? What did he do?
Hold on.
He didn't do anything wrong.
You say that, though. Yeah, before you say that, though, don't forget, and this is probably one of the better stat lines I've seen in this particular line for quite a while. Where was it? His returns, his kick returns. He went 3 returns for 79 yards tonight. His longest return was 28 yards, put him at an average of 26 yards.
That's not good, Brent. Like, you get out to the 25. So he like,
are they when they count that, do they count like when somebody Like it's a touchback. They count that as part of his
they count that in
return?
the end zone when they get in the end zone. Yeah.
But everyone gets to the 25.
No matter what.
Like you got to get like if you want to say if you had a good day returning, like he had 3
You get
returns.
to, like, the 40-yard line. You get to the 40-yard line.
It's like you take off 75 yards. Every time he runs the ball, the first 25 yards don't count.
Yeah, that's like touchback. That's if you were to get a touchback. Catch the ball in the end zone, touchback.
But he didn't do anything wrong. I mean, the only thing I didn't like was the 2-minute warning at the end of the first half where he ran the ball out because he was feeling himself. And he got it to like the 26, 27. So, a 2+ yard difference, and you just ran off like 10 seconds because you ran it out. And it's like, you just could have stood there. We could have been at the 25, have an extra 10 seconds. I thought that was really dumb. But besides that, John, like, why do you want to cut him? He didn't do anything wrong. It's not his fault Brady threw it to him.
Well, because Arian said he put him in Chris Godwin's role. And I'm like, really? Like, you have Tyler Johnson, who people say could be a Chris Godwin Jr., but you have Brandon Mickens in Chris Godwin's role? Like, really, wide receiver 2? Him. Brandon Mickens? Come on. You can't have that guy in Chris Godwin's role. Come on.
I'm with you. I would like to see Tyler Johnson there too, but again, that's not. Are you just cutting him because then Tyler Johnson has no competition? I mean, shouldn't be mad at BA, not at Mickens.
Well, I just because I just felt like the shares could have been better. Like where was the attempts to go to Mike Evans and Rob Gronkowski? It's like, we needed to really get them involved, and we didn't.
Bad game plan right out of the gate. I'm with you, 100%.
And we didn't, and it doesn't seem like we adjusted.
Right? Yeah, I know. Not until the second half. Not until we had to.
Yeah, and I kept saying, like, make adjustments on defense and offense.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I thought we were done with this. So, like, we seen that in the Raiders game, you adjusted, but now against the Giants, what? You just, they're an easy team, so let's keep going with the same old. Yeah,
and I feel like they did that in the Bears game too. Like, we're just gonna play off man and make the quarterback beat us 7 yards at a time.
It was almost like a Lovie Smith defense with how far with the separation I seen between a wide receiver and the defensive back. It was almost a Lovie Smith defense. How many times I've seen that? I was like, come on, get these guys closer, man to man, not zone. Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Hey, we won.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff we learned, and we can't defend against the short pass screens and stuff. We need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's been since week 1.
And
that's, I've talked about that massive.
Is that because we're sacrificing that in order to do the constant blitzing and bring all this pressure and fly to the ball?
Yeah, that's the hole in the defense, and I don't mind it. It's just that
your defensive backs still have to show up from time to time.
There you go. That's it. They gotta make the tackle. Yeah, do your job. I'm with you, John. I feel you, buddy.
And then another thing is that this defensive line, man, for the past 2 games now, they have just not seemed to generate anything. Especially the 4, they just seem not to generate anything. And these are these are against teams who had not as many practices due to COVID, because the team got COVID and one guy was out.
Yeah.
And what is going on with them?
I don't know, but
they just don't have the energy. Maybe
it was an uninspired effort by the defense, especially in the first half. I'm with you 100%. After the first game, after Vita went down, we looked like we were going to be okay. I was like, okay, you know what? That was. I was surprised. I'm very pleased about the effort. Then McClendon came in, and I thought he did well against the run, and we kind of suffered in the pass rush, especially up the middle. But we knew that was going to happen. But you're right. We faced 2, not only the Raiders, they're missing their 2 best offensive linemen. Yeah. And then they kept getting guys hurt during the game and kept shuffling them around, and we still weren't getting pressure. The only 3 sacks that David Carr had was all done by Devin White, none by the defensive line. And then we face another beat up offensive line that's very inexperienced. Some guys having terrible years, and it didn't, it didn't show. Like, our experience and talent didn't beat those guys. It didn't show up. So I'm with you. You know, 2 games. It's starting for a trend. So, but again, it's a week-to-week league. We'll see what happens. But I hope someone, at least, you know, in one of these Zoom calls, you know, ask BA or Bowles or maybe, you know, one of the defensive linemen is on is kind of what's going on, because yeah, I was shocked by the lack of pressure the past 2 games from the defensive line.
Yeah, I have 2 more things. All right. First thing is I gotta say, if I were to say one thing to BA right now, is please don't be like Dirk Cutter to Ronald Jones. Don't Dirk Cutter Ronald Jones. Don't be like him. Come on, don't do that. I know he makes a mistake. He made a mistake, but it wasn't really that his fault. It was a circumstance. It was circumstantial, really. And now you punish him. Like, you can't do that. Like, you don't Dirk Cutter him, because that's what Dirk Cutter did to him. He made a mistake, and then he just shut him out for the rest of the year. You can't do that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not. You know, he fumbled the ball. He shouldn't have fumbled the ball. I'm not going to sit there and make excuses for him and say it's circumstantial and it wasn't his fault. Like, that's your job. Like, that's your number one job. Like, don't turn over the ball. But the amount of punishment that he got, I don't mind sitting him for the first half. Well, I kind of do, but I get it. But then not playing him the fourth quarter, you know, when the game's on the line and Fournette was in there because he was supposed to be, you know, he's our 3rd down back now. I mean, you know, like, Jones is better than Fournette at running the ball, and it seems like, you know, they're trying to teach Rojo a lesson. But like you said, it's against sort of these lesser teams. And it's like, we're going to show him a lesson now because we should be able to beat this team and win the game. But, you know, what if this happens in a big game? Like, what happens? You know, he misses a blitz pickup in the first quarter, you know, against the Chiefs. And we got a 1-game lead against the Saints, and they won earlier in the day. Like, are you gonna like sit him and when it really counts? Like, are you gonna go to Fournette where you know that Rojo gives you the better chance to move the ball on the ground?
Yeah. And the last thing I had was really one thing I've seen another problem on the defense is they did good well against the Raiders but against guys like the Bears, Chargers, even a little bit of the Raiders too with Nelson Aguilar and the Giants. We really had trouble with those speedy wide receivers. We did pretty well against Henry Ruggs, but guys like Nelson Aguilar, Darius Slayton, and even the Chargers game, we seen guys like them kept missing tackles and they kept getting burned. And so we gotta figure out how to, you know, defend against those type of players, because it wasn't Evan Ingram this time we were fearing. It was Darius Slayton.
Yeah, it's been weird because the one guy where we all feared his speed, I thought the Bucs, like you said, Ruggs, I thought the Bucs did their best job on it. It's a little puzzling to see the defensive backs, you know, sort of like week in and week out, be surprised by these other teams' wide receivers' speed. You know, where they get by and like, oh, okay, and then they try to get in the horse and it's too late. Like, you saw that in the Chargers game for sure. Saw it in the Raiders game for sure.
And you know, even in the Bears game too with Cordell Patterson.
I don't really remember that so much. I remember the special teams, which, by the way, we should talk about, cannot cover. Like, if you run it out, you're going to get to the 35. Like, they're terrible. They can't cover.
I mean, outside of special teams, I thought tackling was particularly atrocious tonight.
Yeah,
they didn't game tackle.
Yeah,
like, they didn't never knock the running back backwards. One guy would be on him, the other guy was just watching him, trying to bring him down. You know, it was a completely uninspiring. Like, they had no juice, man. No juice.
They had no energy. It's like did they just do in the press conference during the whole week? You know, getting all hyped up, and then they kind of fizzled out by the end because they got too hyped up.
I'm sorry. What? You said you're reading their own press clippings? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, that's just something that's easy for fans to point at. But I can't tell you why. You know, so one reason is as good as the other, I guess.
Yeah, but and I mean, don't forget, like in the end, the Buccaneers won. They did.
But
They
we
did what
learned a
they
lot.
needed. Look. This is what we say. Good teams win the games they're supposed to win.
Yeah.
It's not always pretty, but the good teams win the games they're supposed to win. They don't drop games like this. Buccaneers in years past would have dropped a game like this.
Yeah. But
know,
we learned a lot, though. And maybe this was good. It was a wake-up call right before the Saints game, which maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It was. That's what happened. That's what happened. The Bears game happened. Wake-up call. Next thing you know, we dominated the Packers. This time was a wake-up call. We didn't lose, but it was a wake-up call. So now we should be ready for Sunday night against the Saints. We need to be ready because this could be for the division next week. So we need
it'll have huge implications, and we're one down in the division right now. The only reason we're up in the division is because they've had their bye, so they're a game behind us as far as how many they've actually played. We have that advantage of having one over them. So, John, you got anything else here for us before I let you go, man?
Yeah, I would say I would agree with Ren that Donovan Smith did not have the greatest of game. It seemed like this was the two games he had good, and now he's reverting back to I'm going to play a little bad now.
Yep.
So,
all you got to do is wait.
He took plays off. He for sure took some plays off.
Yeah, it's like a cycle. He has a couple games good, and then a couple games bad. Hopefully, he don't have a bad game against the Saints, because if he does, please God, no. Please.
Yep. I'm with you, man. Yep. You don't like the way Donovan Smith played, or you are liking the way Donovan Smith played, just give it one more game. You'll change your mind.
Wait a quarter, and you might change your mind. John, man, thanks so much for your call. We'll talk to you next week. Okay, pal?
All right. See ya, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Thanks, John.
Go Bucs. All right, Ren. Well, we have reached that part of the night. Before we get to it, we're going to go to Swords and Skulls. Let me try that again.
Sure.
Swords and Skulls.
Sure.
This is our homage to what the Buck this year we are doing. You guys go ahead and drop those in the chat. We'll shout those out. Who are you giving your sword and your skull? Your sword is the best player of the game, your MVP of the game. Your skull is your numbskull. That's the bad one of the game. But Ren, before we get to that, I'll give you a chance. Any final thoughts as we sort of put a bow on this Buccaneers Giants game where they won just barely 25-23?
Nope. I'm tired.
Me too.
Okay.
I'm still my body feels like it's still 2:00 in the morning, like where we've just had that time change for when we do that. All right, Ren. So I'll throw it over to you, man. Who are you giving your sword to? Who are you giving your skull to?
Now, I was thinking about giving it to AJ in the chat room on Collide, because he called out one of the first picks. He's like, okay, the Bucs are going to pick it off here. And then he called something else out. Not quite as dramatic, obviously.
Sure.
But I got to give it to Ryan Suckup. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 for 4 on field goals. I know that we scored 25 points, but we didn't score them the right way. But yeah, I don't really know who else you can point to, honestly.
Right.
So my sword is going to Suckup.
It's fun you're saying that, because there's a lot of people in the chat that are putting up Suckup as their sword as they're coming in here. It's and I don't know how to disagree with you.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right. Who you got for your skull?
Who do I got for my skull? I could, even though the commentators kept talking about how Jamel Dean could have got burnt there, Jamel Dean could have got burnt there, Jamel Dean, but he didn't. He gave us some pass plays, but so did Davis, so did Devontae David, so did everybody. I don't want to give to Jaden Mickens. It's not his fault. No one had a really a terrible game. No one, you can't really point to and go, that's the reason. Sean Murphy Bunting got beat for, possibly the game tying TD, but I didn't see him really miss anything else. He had a touchdown saving tackle. They barely threw at him. That means he was doing his job.
Right.
He was doing it better than Dean, because that's who they were going after. Golson could have got a sword for me. So who am I going to give my skull to? I'm going to give it to the game plan.
Once again, a lot of people in the chat room they give it to the game plan, or we got the coaching staff.
I don't like the Leftwich play calling thing.
Leftwich.
I don't like the Leftwich play calling thing, because the Bucs have scored the most points in the league and they're like third in points per game. So I get it. I watch games and get frustrated with some play calls too.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they put up 25 points. You know, like they've been putting up like they're averaging 32.
Is it bad that sounds so small to me? Hey, they put up 25 points, and I'm like, that's it?
Yeah,
that's
it is. Yeah, it's only taking you like 8 games to turn into a Patriots fan. Yes, I mean we're averaging 32 points. That's like third in the league. So I just don't get the Leftwich hate. Like he's the opposite of Gerald McCoy. Like they give him no credit for all the good stuff, but every run that gets -2 yards, he's the worst coordinator. He plays caller, but
Well, Ren, I will tell you.
But I don't like. I did not like the game plan. Is what I'm saying.
The game plan.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I think I've just put up on the screen all of the swords and skulls, because a lot of them were sword going over to suck up, and then the skull was like to Leftwich or to Bowles or to the game plan or to the play calling or something of that nature. But since you have now dubbed me a Patriots fan, I think my sword then automatically is going to go to Tom Brady, just because I'm now a Patriots fan, and my skull is going to go to Ryan Suckup, just because he took points away from Tom Brady when Tommy should have stayed in there. So
should have went.
That's who gets my skull for the week. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. How dare you?
So,
if you would have missed that first field goal, they maybe never would have not gone for it on 4th down.
I'm just saying, if it would have been Matt Gay or Roberto Aguayo in here, there's no way that they would have gone to kick on that 4th and 1. They would have just left it with Tommy.
That's a good point.
That's exactly how that would have gone. All right, Ren. Well, that is going to wrap up this edition of the PewterCast Live. Thank you for joining us, guys. We got a couple more shows coming out later this week, so you guys make sure you stay tuned. Stay tuned to us right here at the PewterCast. Subscribe to us here on YouTube, or bookmark our page, thepewtercast.live. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. These will all be archived up there as well. And we even sometimes have shows that go up there that don't make it over to YouTube, and vice versa. So you guys make sure you check us out all over the place. Ren, tell the folks where they can get in touch with you this week out there on the internet.
Best place to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if your take is too hot or you just want to put it out there in Twitter sphere, you can slide in my DMs. We'll talk Buccaneers football there as well too.
And if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias. And the show is at the PewterCast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. Make sure you find us out there on the World Wide Web, like I mentioned just a moment ago, at thepewtercast.live. And like I said, we'll be back with you guys later this week, so make sure you stay tuned. We got lots of fun stuff coming for you, lots of programming coming your way, including a midweek show that has a whole new twist to it that you guys, some people love, and some people are still trying to figure it out, and that's all okay. Until next time, guys. Do what?
The cool people love it.
The cool people love it. The ones that get it, get it. Until next time, guys, thank you to everybody who called in or video chatted in. Mia or Maya, Keon, Corey, Trent, John. You guys are awesome. And until next time, guys, we'll talk to you later. And go Bucs.